Hi guys, welcome to this new series called RGT Interviews, where I'll be speaking to a range of people from the RGT community, from riders to event organisers, broadcasters, and hopefully some of the RGT staff themselves. This is an opportunity to try and delve into the wide and diverse community that we have, get some background on some of the people who help out others, who help lift the platform, and those who are helping creating it as well. So please sit back and enjoy the listen. There's a bit of background video, but this is mostly an audio series, so don't worry about watching that too much. Right, hi everyone. Welcome to RGT Interviews, episode number 2. I hope you enjoyed the first episode with Riley Harvey last week. My guest this week is James Ogilvie. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very well, mate. Just getting over a bit of lurgy, but apart from that, great, thanks.
Well, hopefully nothing serious, and it's not going to keep you off the bike.
No, back on yesterday, doing a bit of team time trialling, so yeah, I'm starting to feel better already.
Excellent, good stuff. And how long have you been on RGT? Have you been on it a while, or are you quite a new user?
Probably medium, I'd say. I mean, I got on it back in sort of March time. Okay. I was kind of vaguely aware of RGT through kind of Strava. There's a guy I know called Adam Morgan, and I'd seen him doing kind of Canary Wharf rides a few times, and he kind of chatted to me a bit and said it was to do with their Watt bike. I think they had some kind of tie-in in early days. Okay. So yeah, I was kind of aware of it from there, and then he invited me onto the platform in March. And it's kind of all gone from there. I had my first ride up Cat Formentera, and after that I was hooked, really.
Oh, excellent. And you're pretty involved now. You've got quite a lot going on. And what did you tell us about some of your current projects that you've got on the platform?
So I run my own group now. So that's On the Rivet e-racing, OTR. We've grown really quickly, actually, over the last few months from just a handful of riders to kind of 60 plus now. We've got people kind of riding in the team time trials that you run. We've got a couple of our own races that we run regularly at the weekends as well. A women's race that we're trying to promote. It's been a little bit hard going, but we're starting to get a bit of momentum behind it now, which is great. And the big thing that we've got on the horizon now, as you know yourself, helping us along with it, is the Tour du Monde, or Tour du Monde, as I should say.
Yeah, I need to make sure we get that do correct. We've been told off a few times for that, haven't we?
No, absolutely. I mean, I was ashamed, really. My wife's a native French speaker. I should have run it by her first and made sure it was correct.
Well, I think you and Samir are taking the lead on that. I'm just providing a little bit of graphic support. But I think that's going to be a really good event, a big 2-week event, isn't it? That's really offering something different on the platform and something that RGT really enables people to do. Why don't you run through a little bit more about what the event's going to entail?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at doing 12 stages across the 16 days, as you said. We're trying to build in a little bit more rest than we had possibly with the VLF, which happened earlier in the year. And the idea of it is to build in a little bit more excitement via teams this time. So I think both Samir and I were both really impressed with the way things have gone on your team time trial. So we wanted to try and bring that element into the kind of VLF sort of long race format as well. Samir's kind of, and yourself actually, have come up with some really, really great routes for the tour, all over the world, Norfolk Island, Uluru, Ayers Rock in Australia, and then we're going up all sorts of crazy climbs in Argentina, finishing up at Chrysler Redeemer, and we've got a couple of sort of alpine classic stages, one of which was used in the VLF, so that's Telegraph and Galibier. It's starting to drum up some really good interest. We set up a Facebook group, and I think we've got kind of 90 members already. I've had about, 6 or 7 teams emailing me and their riders. So I'm getting very, very excited about it. I won't lie, I'm getting a little bit stressed about it as well, being one of the main organisers, particularly around the result. I'm kind of, pacing up and down late at night trying to work out how that's all going to run. But I'm sure, once we have a couple of practice runs, we get the first stage out of the way. I'm sure it'll run like clockwork.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a really good event. There's certainly a lot of variety there, and really utilising the tools that are available on the platform. The fact that we're going to, like you say, Argentina, Brazil, Australia, America, China. There's a real range of places that is a real tour de monde. So that's really good. And yeah, the team element as well is going to offer something new as well, isn't it? I think that's a real sign of the platform growing. And I think
absolutely.
Initially, a lot of riders sort of come on board on their own, and they do a bit of a ride and they sort of log off. But now there's that real community growing, and people sort of find themselves online at the same time as other people and similar abilities, and that's really sort of helping to drive that team effort and create those sort of individual groups. So that's really good to see, and I think that's only going to get better and better as the platform develops further.
Absolutely, and that's kind of what OTR is all about as well. We're fundamentally about getting people onto the platform and then helping them develop through, whether that's within the group itself. We have a lot of encouragement between group members, or whether that's through our races, setting up the beginners race on a Saturday and then the improvers race on the Sunday. We're very much about trying to help people get on the platform, stay with us, and become better and better riders, as they go along. So, it's going really, really well.
And I think one of the other good things about the Tour de Monde is there's several competitions within the overall competition. There's like the Tour de France, you've got the general classification, and there's a few others as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so we've got the sprint as well. So, sprint points are going to come on the flat stages. And then you've got, obviously, the mountain competition is going to come from the more mountainous ones. And something we've done a little bit different in this race over what happened in the VLF is that we're going to be offering points on the rolling stages. So hilly stages are split 50-50 between the sprinters and the mountain points. So you rack up points for competing properly hard in every single stage. So there's kind of no slacking off if you want to keep high in the GC and the other competitions.
Yeah, you touched on earlier, there's a couple more rest days spread out within the event, but every stage is a challenging stage. I don't think there's particularly any easy ones in there, and every stage offers you opportunities for points. So you really have to be on it every day. There's no transition stages in this, are there?
There's not. I mean, you could argue that stage one is easy, being flat, but it's an individual time trial. So, you've got to be giving it everything. Otherwise, you're going to be, behind from stage one. So.
Yeah, and even some of the flat stages, I know on VLF, they were sort of told off a little bit, or a few people complained that they weren't really that flat, and I don't think we've quite fallen into that trap. But we're certainly not giving anyone an easy ride, are we? And I think one of the good things is you've got lots of opportunities there. People can dip in and out. They can do one or two stages, whatever fits around their schedule, or they can try and sort of jump in at the deep end and take the whole lot on.
Exactly, and it's great that the platform's allowing us the tools to kind of do the cool individual time trial and time trial stuff as well. It's a little bit of a shame, actually. We might be able to do something around the elimination format that's just been released in the latest upgrade as well. But it came a little bit late for us, I think, that one.
Yeah, well, I think already some people are looking at events for that as well. So it's just another thing where people are able to take the initiative, jump on board with the different tools available and create some exciting events. And at one end we've got this big 2-week event, and at the other end you've got short little elimination races, and one of them is just a 500-meter sprint, and that's part of the event. So there's a real range of variety on the platform, which is great.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get better as they're going from strength to strength. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future, excited about it.
And with the teams as well, that's something called the TDM, where you get that support as well from each other, don't you? That's going to be really sort of useful and beneficial. I think people helping each other out and offering encouragement. Yeah,
I think definitely the encouragement side of things as well. And in race, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, I found a couple of the stages on the VLF. I kind of went too deep trying to stay with the front guys, got popped off the back, and then I was in no man's land. I had no one to help me, and it was just like 50 minutes of suffering to get to the line. But now, if I've got teammates around me, it's quite possible, if we've got the numbers, that somebody could drop back, help me out, pace me back, and then I wouldn't be losing so much time if I was, one of the guys that was, vying for a position in the individual, or if I was the third man that's counting in the team competition, they can pull me back so that, the team overall don't lose time.
Yeah, I think that team dynamic's going to offer something quite new, quite interesting as well. You could find people being a little bit more aggressive, sending a rider up the road, trying to get a bit of a breakaway maybe, or trying to just make it difficult for the other teams by being aggressive up every climb and making them work hard. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a little bit of it in our weekend races already. I think Razio Racing last week, they came with numbers. I think they had 4 or 5 guys came to the Spanish Improvers race, and they smashed it and just ripped the race apart. Sent a couple of guys up the road, classic sort of send them up. One guy sits back, they get a break on, and then he jumps across, and then I think only 2 people managed to go with him, and the rest of the race was was kind of cut off from that, and they took it for the win. I think they had first and second in that one.
I think that'll help other teams as well start to form, won't they? Because people will see that those tactics are working, and they want to get some teammates to help them out as well, and try and create some rivalries. I think so. That's another sort of interesting development within the platform, and it really lends itself to the team effort, doesn't it? It's not just a full-on effort for 25 minutes or something, and then a little sprint at the end. You can really play around with your different riders and different strengths in different riders as well, whether it's a sprinter or a climber. So yeah, that's certainly something that I find quite exciting about RGT.
No, I do too. I think it's fundamentally to do with the physics of the platform. It's so much more like real life. I mean, it's never going to be exactly like real life, but it's as near as damn it as far as I'm concerned. I think that's what makes the racing on the platform so very interesting.
Yeah, I was riding yesterday in one of the echelon races, and I was about 6th or 7th wheel coming up a short incline, and I noticed that one of the teams had 3 riders on the front. They'd all sort of just assembled on the front. I thought, oh no, here we go. They're going to put the pressure on. It's about 500 metres. It's only 3 or 4%, but they were all riding at 7-8 watts a kilo and just really stringing the field out.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate that I was near the front, so I could react and sort of jump on. But we managed to lose about 5 or 6 out of the pack of 30. So it was an aggressive move, and it sort of did what they wanted it to do, which was to drop a few guys. And you've got to stay alert the whole time, haven't you? There's no zoning out in these races at all.
Absolutely not. No, I mean, Semir and I tried a similar thing just before Razio sort of blew the race apart last week. We got a little break going up a climb, and then he jumped over me, and I got on the back of him. But unfortunately, there's only 2 of us, so we didn't really have the strength to keep the sort of 10 guys behind us at bay.
I think as well, some of the other tools such as Discord, that's a real useful audio program that people can use to find out about what's happening on the platform, but also using that to create those sort of team radio and share tactics and make sure you're sort of discussing it. I think that's really useful as well. It's just good to let people know about those other sort of platforms out there which can help them with their riding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to you now on my headset actually that I use for the team trials and stuff. So yeah, and Discord's great. I think it's also great. We've got so many like YouTubers going now, so people are quite regularly filming the races and putting it up on YouTube, and that's drumming up interest as well. And it's good to review those races, and you can sort of go back and see exactly what those teams did if there's a team dynamic going on, and maybe think about how you're going to maybe counter that next time.
Yeah, that's how I sort of got involved initially. I was just recording my races just for my own review, really, so I could go back and have a little look at the end of the race and see, should have gone a bit earlier, or I went a bit late or something. So it's good for reviewing, and even if you're not the sort of person who wants to put it online and sort of commentate over it, I think just that own sort of personal review, it's a good tactic to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it for just the entertainment value as well. Sometimes it's good to just sort of watch. I think Jonathan Crane is it, and Andrew Speck.
Yeah.
Two big guys.
Yeah, I haven't quite got into the webcam side of it yet, so I don't think it'd be good viewing, just a big sweaty mess.
I don't feel the same way, mate. I think it'll just be screen for me if I'm going to broadcast my races.
John's got quite a good screen presence. He's quite presentable.
And he's got a catchphrase as well.
Yes, he does have a catchphrase, yeah. And he managed to keep his top on, which I never managed to do. I always get too warm for that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm not sure I'd get through YouTube's explicit ratings algorithms. Cool. So that's a lot about TGM and some of your current projects. And I think we've actually discussed quite a lot about what your favourite features are on RGT. But is there one in particular that might stand out?
I mean, for me, Magic Roads, no doubt. I mean, it literally lets you ride anywhere. I mean, as we discussed with the TDM, there's a couple of routes on there that there are places where there's naturally no road at all. So you and Samir have managed to go to these places, get a GPX file, map a route on it, and create a raceable road where there just wasn't one. You just can't do that anywhere else on the net, as far as I'm aware. You certainly can't do it on our favourite platform, beginning with the Z.
The other side.
The other side. I've also been really impressed with the improvements to the UI recently. I mean, I really like that elevation map that we've got going along the bottom now. That really allows me to kind of plan my race, look to places that sort of play to my strengths where I can attack.
Yeah, that's been really useful. I think that'd be good
for
the TDM as well, because
absolutely.
These are routes that people aren't familiar with. They can't really go out and practice them, week in, week out, like on other platforms, which are sort of more limited in their scope of routes. And we will be releasing the routes, won't we, beforehand, so people can have a look. And there is the handbook, so they can see how up and down these roads are. But yeah, it's really useful having that there as a sort of visual reminder in the race when you're not really thinking with full clarity about what's going on.
Absolutely. I love the whole platform, but I think Magic Roads in particular is just an awesome feature.
Well, the fact that Samir's managed to make a route on Antarctica, I don't know whose Strava data that is that he's managed to pinch to get that, some the South Pole trek perhaps, but it's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we've got a little sort of social end of year ride booked to go around Lapland. That's just another one that he managed to kind of get from somewhere, and he's just mapped it out. And we've got a nice little Santa's Grotto ride planned.
Very nice. Is that on the 23rd? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, come along, have a mince pie, put something special in your bead on, and we'll have a little ride.
Something to keep you warm.
Absolutely. It's cold in Lapland.
Well, we all stay cold on the turbos, don't we?
Absolutely, mate.
Well, as you mentioned, there's been a big update on RGT, so it's maybe a little bit cheeky to ask what feature you would like to see added in the future, but it's always good to look ahead as well, and we expect that this platform's going to keep growing. So if there's one thing you'd like to see added in the future, what would that be?
I'm going to do a little catch-all and just say organisational tools for race organisers. Obviously, that's kind of my main focus on the platform. So I'd like to see being able to edit events after I set them up, and maybe being able to copy and paste events, if you get what I mean. So I've got regular races. I just want to be able to click on it and say same race, same time next week.
Yeah,
that just saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, a bit like you can in a calendar, sort of weekly repeat or something like that, or repeat every fortnight. Yeah, that would be useful.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that
will
come as well, won't it? We've got a lot of content there now, and I think the next sort of steps are looking at refining some of those foundations that we've just laid with this big update.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the community is kind of getting involved and helping out with these things anyway, not specifically, obviously, with those bits in the app. But I know you and Mike, what's his surname that's doing the kind of results?
It's Mike Brewery on Facebook, but Mike Swart is the main guy behind that. I'm just lending a little bit of motivational support. I've not really done I haven't done any of the programming. I can't take any credit for any of that at all. So him and Alex, they're the guys who have been doing all this, the matrix side of things.
So I think that's going to be really awesome, to be able to kind of go to just the app, set up your race, bang in the code into the website, and then everything kind of automatically flows from there. It just makes things a little bit smoother, because I think, as you know, setting up events isn't easy. It's a bit time consuming. Obviously, when you've got family commitments and you've got work as well, you just want it to be as painless as possible, don't you?
No, absolutely. I think that's another sort of piece of software, another website which has started off well. They've got a good groundwork there, and I'm sure that's only going to continue to improve and develop over time as well, and make things easier for everyone. Great. Well, thanks a lot, James. Thanks for your time today. And I look forward to getting stuck into the TDM. Good luck with that for yourself, as I'm sure you'll be riding all the stages, and good luck with the results as well. And I hope that you don't get buried in spreadsheets of data. And
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Look out for OTR Black. So that's one of the 4 teams that OTR are taking that I'm going to be involved with.
Great stuff. Well, catch you again in the future, and I'll see you out on the road.
Nice one, mate. Take care, and thanks a lot for your help.
So that was James Ogilvie there, one of the key guys behind the Tour de Monde. That's a 2-week series that starts on the 2nd of January. That'll be a good excuse to burn off some of that Christmas excess. And there's plenty of opportunity to take part. There's 4 time slots per day to ensure that everyone all around the world is able to participate. And I'm sure it'll be a great event. So get out there and support him. And I hope you enjoyed that podcast. And I look forward to welcoming you back for episode 3 in a week's time. Thank you very much, everyone.